baby, I'm trying to get away. Trying to lock in the guap, trying to block all the pain. I'm a blonde old boss, I'm on top of the game. I've been plotting a lot, now I'm tossing your bait. Yeah, my pops got caught, didn't lock them away. My mom fought hard, 5 jobs in a day. I'll be dropping the box, and I'm copping the pain. We out for the stars, we're a tropical place. Ooh, yeah, I'm spitting it heavy, the mission is steady. Your bitches are jelly, I'm ditching the petty. You're digging for pennies, I'm itching already. I open my heart when I listen to Shetty. I'm bold like a boss, but I'm little like Debbie. I know what your boss, I got Richard and Getty. I'm holding the guap and I'm whipping the Yeti, yeah, Kari can play with advanced moves. I'm fucking my girl and her man too. I'm taking the ball like the Rand do. My soul is the one that I can't lose. I soak up the sun like a sand dune. I'm holding up love with the bamboo. I'm rolling the blunt by the candle. Taking the game, running it back without taking a drink. Yeah, I'm the one and I'm making a wave. Rolling the blunt and I'm blazing a J. I'm escaping the brain, go straight for the cake. I'ma take to the bank, now taking a break. I'm made for the race, I pray for the day. I wake with a bake in a great estate.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Jay back at you. We're out Maddie today. He got some real life shit going on, so he's got to take care of that. Not going to put his personal business out there, but keep him and his people in your thoughts and prayers. All right, so as we move forward, we're going into the divisional round. It's an exciting time. This is when games get real tough. But we got to go back and talk about the wild card round where, sometimes there can be some blowouts, not as close games because – you have the teams who snuck into the playoffs playing the better teams in the playoffs. But we saw some wild shit go on this last weekend, and we saw some upsets. We saw a blowout in a game that the Chargers were favored at home. The Texans-Chargers game, Texans 32, Chargers 12. C.J. Stroud looked good. Doesn't have a ton of weapons right now. Went up against a really stout defense, and he looked good. He went 22 for 33 for 282, a touchdown. He did have that interception, but I don't blame that so much on CJ as everything else going on. But Joe Mixon went the fuck off like we expect Joe Mixon to do. 106 and a touchdown. Nico Collins, which, like I said, they don't have a lot of depth right now. Nico Collins went off, and what did Nico Collins have? Nico Collins had 7 receptions, 122, 17 yards per reception, and a touchdown. And then, if you just look at the rest of the stats, CJ just spread the ball around between 8 different guys. Like, CJ was spreading the ball around. Their defense stepped up. They made life super difficult on the Chargers. Justin Herbert had a horrible day, probably the worst day of his career. 14 for 32, 242, 1 touchdown, but 4 picks. When do we think of Justin Herbert having 4 picks? But again, I've been the guy on the show, like, I like Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert has a ton of talent. But my question becomes, when do we stop giving Justin Herbert a pass? When do we start having to hold Justin Herbert accountable? Because if this was Joe Burrow, if this was Josh Allen, if this was Lamar Jackson, there would be people losing their fucking minds because of the way that he played. But Justin Herbert keeps getting this pass. Like, everybody seems to not care that Justin Herbert hasn't done anything in his NFL career. Super talented, seems like a super great guy. Probably a good leader of men, but we haven't seen shit. And he's always got this pass because of dysfunctional organization, bad coach, this kind of thing. Well, now you have Jim Harbaugh. I know you didn't have a ton of talent, but Ladd McConkey can play. You have a decent receiving core. I'm not trying to hear that shit when people are like, they got no receiving core. They have a decent. They need to improve. Absolutely. Decent receiving core, good tight ends, good offensive line, a good running game, which got stuffed in itself. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about J.K. Dobbins. And if you watch the show, big fan of J.K. Dobbins and what he can do and how he changed his life for this team. He had 9 carries for 26 yards. Well, that's awful because it's 2.9 yards per carry. But the first problem is 9 carries. J.K. Dobbins, 9 carries. Gus Edwards had 7 carries for 22 yards. I'm not a huge fan of Gus Edwards. I'm not trying to shit on the guy, but he can't carry the whole load. Ladd McConkey went the fuck off, 9 for 197, 21 yards per reception, and a tud. Disley, good tight end we talked about, only had 2 receptions. You have to get him more involved. You got to get DJ Chark more involved. I mean, what is one for 10? 1 reception for 10 yards. That's not going to get it done. You have Quentin Johnston on the team. Nothing goes to him. I mean, give credit to the Texans defense. The Texans defense balled the fuck out. But at what point do we stop giving Herbert a pass? At what point do we go, okay, you got to step up. You got to carry this team. There's going to come times in the NFL where a quarterback's got to carry his team. And we're going to talk about not carrying a team again in another game in this playoffs, which seems to be kind of a trend here. But CJ Stroud balled the fuck out. I am so happy for the Texans. This was the Texans team that I was hoping to see all year. If you go back to our way too early Super Bowl predictions, I picked the Texans to go to the Super Bowl. Granted, that was before the season start. That was still like a hair after the draft, and we did our crazy, wild, way too early Super Bowl predictions. But I mean, I had hopes for the Texans this year. I was excited to watch them. I thought it was going to be a more of a greatest show on turf after CJ Stroud's first year, and then you got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, you bring in Stephon Diggs. I'm like, oh, they're going to go off. But injury bug hit them. But they still made the playoffs. Weak division, that helps. But then they came in and they just kicked the shit out of the Chargers, which I don't think anybody expected. Even if you thought that the Texans were going to win, I don't think you expected them to just kick the shit out of the Chargers. It's what they absolutely did. So salute to the Texans. Good job. I'm excited to watch them play the Chiefs. That's going to be a rough matchup, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because we're still talking about Super Wildcard Weekend. Yes, the stupidest name for a wildcard weekend. But okay, I digress. All right, now we're talking some Steelers, Ravens. The Ravens came out. They did their thing. Lamar, I know I was saying that it was Josh Allen earlier in the year. Lamar is the fucking MVP. If they do not give Lamar the MVP, and I know it's a regular season award, but if you look at his stats, he had better stats than Josh Allen. Lamar played great. And I know I heard some fucking idiots go, yeah, well, Lamar only had 175 yards passing. Okay, follow with me. Lamar threw five incompletions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 incompletions all game. 16 for 21, 175, 2 tutties. He also ran 15 times for 81 yards, which is 5.4 per carry. But on top of that, he didn't have to throw the ball over the field because Derrick Henry came out and did his thing. The King is back. The return of the King to the playoffs. 26 carries, which is probably a perfect amount to get a guy. But here's the outstanding portion of this. 186 yards, 26 carries at 7.2 yards per carry. I mean, fuck, you just keep handing it off. What else are you going to do? You can't stop them. At first down, 7 yards. Second down, first down. Because he's another 7 yards. What are you going to do? That's with 2 touchdowns in that game. And then, oh, wait, where did it go? Sorry, guys. And then I was really excited to see Isaiah Likely getting involved. Mark Andrews, they both didn't have a ton, but they're getting involved, and that's what you're going to need to see moving forward against these monster teams is the tight ends for the Ravens to step up, because they are their biggest weapon. We are still at this point questionable about Flowers, so I'm not sure if he's playing yet. That's something that, yeah, right during a live show, or right during a show while we're recording, I'm going to check to see the reports coming out on Zay Flowers. Doubtful still. Okay. So we haven't heard anything, but they are going to try to get him to go as a game time decision, but he is still doubtful. That's tough. That makes it rough in this game against the Bills, because he's your big play, stretch the field weapon, back up the defense. But again, then the Bills don't have the greatest defense, so that will make it interesting. But the Steelers look like complete ass. It's time to move on from both quarterbacks. I know that Russell Wilson threw for 270 and went 20 of 29 for 2 touchdowns, but he did not look good. Let's be honest. He didn't look good. He doesn't look like a guy that can carry you to a Super Bowl. He doesn't look like a guy that the team's going to get behind and rally for. He just doesn't seem to be like the Russell Wilson from Seattle. But the more I think about that, Russell played his role. The Legion of Boom was the leaders of that team. Beast Mode Marshawn Lynch was the leader of that team. I mean, so they had a lot of leaders. Russell could just stay back and play, scramble around, throw the rainbow ball down the field. But how are you going to win a game when Najee Harris goes 6 carries for 17 yards? That's 2.8 yards per carry. That's absolutely ridiculous. Why isn't Jaylen Warren running the ball more, or anybody else at that point? If you're getting beat up that bad, you got to switch it up and try something else. Not that Jaylen Warren had a stellar day. He only had 2 carries, but it was 6 yards. That's actually higher average than Najee Harris, but the running game was getting shut down. Then you need guys in the passing game to step up. George Pickens, which there's something weird going on with him. Like, he doesn't seem to be loved, not the greatest team guy. Seems to have some immaturity shit going on from what's leaking. But he went 5 for 87, but he missed some big catches, don't get me wrong. Russell Wilson made some bad throws that should have been, better for the receivers to catch too. We didn't hear much from Pat Freiermuth. I mean, 3 for 15. You're looking at guys like Van Joseph, 2 for 37. You can't win a game that way. And then if your running game's not going to work, what are you going to do? You got to do some screens or something, right? Najee, 3 for 41. Like, you've got to figure out something. It didn't go well for the Steelers. And you got TJ going into the last year of his contract. So what's going to happen there? I mean, it's a wild things are going on. And then we hear that the Steelers are like, we're making wholesale changes from the top to the bottom, yet nothing yet. It's still quiet. Nobody's gotten fired. Nothing's changed. So I don't know. I don't know where the Steelers go from here. I love Mike T, but you definitely got to get a franchise quarterback. I'm hearing rumors maybe they go out and grab a Sam Darnold, Aaron Rodgers, then try to get their rookie. You're always drafting too late to get a great rookie. There is some guys, though, in this draft with upside that I don't think will be taken in the first round, but they're definitely developmental guys. But that shit we'll get into another podcast because I don't have all the numbers and shit in front of me, and I just started watching some of the film on these college quarterbacks coming out. But there's some guys that have potentials that I don't think will go in the first round, but they're definitely developmental. So you're going to have to get a guy in there for a year, maybe 2, try to teach him. Is it Justin Fields? I don't think so. Maddie might. Some of the talking heads might. You guys already know how I feel about Justin Fields. I actually think, and I mean, he's young, but it's late into his career now, but maybe he needs to switch positions and try running back and like kick and punt returner or something like that. I just don't feel like he's an NFL caliber quarterback. I don't think he's going to win you a bunch of games. And when he won with the Steelers, they won every way but putting it on the quarterback's shoulders. They won with defense. They won with a running game. It was never on the quarterback. And I don't want to even bring up the Bears because they're already doing what they did to Mitch Trubisky, to Justin Fields. They're trying to do that to Caleb Williams right now. So we'll see if they can find a coach. All right, let's talk some Bills Broncos. Man, the Broncos, I picked the Broncos to cover the spread. Maddie and I both did. This did not go as planned. Josh Allen, great game, 20 for 26, only 6 incompletions, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. James Cook, 23 carries, 120 yards and a touchdown. Curtis Samuel steps up, gets them. I mean, it's only 3, but some of those, it was only 3 receptions, but it was almost 70 yards, and they were at some big times in that game that were needed. I love how Josh Allen spread the ball around. Shakir, 6 catches, 61 yards. Kincaid, 3 for 47. Knox, 2 for 38. I mean, you get the point here. He just spread the ball around. We need more from Amari Cooper, though. I know that he's new to the team, middle of the season, but this is playoffs. You got to step up. This is what we need more from Amari Cooper. 2 for 8 just ain't going to cut it. But the Broncos got their ass whooped, and Bo Nix looked like a rookie quarterback against not such a great defense. 13 for 22, 144, 1 touchdown. They could not get the rushing game going. Bo Nix led them in rushing with 43 yards. Cortland Sutton, 5 for 75, but that was the best you've seen there. It was a complete and utter disaster for the Broncos. They got to go back to the drawing board. Got some good pieces to build on. We'll see if they can go from there and what kind of steps that Bo Nix will take in the future. All right, so after talking about the Broncos game and the Bills, let's move on to the Eagles-Packers, which was, I mean, at points I wanted to say it was competitive, because at points I thought, okay, the Packers are going to come back. The Packers have a chance to come back right here. Okay, the Packers are going to come back right here. But no, Jordan Love, 3 interceptions. He went 20 for 33, 212 yards, 3 interceptions. I know he had an injury-ridden season, but he had 8 good games last year, a couple good games this year. He's tied for the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, which is wild. I'm not sure what the Packers do from here. I guess you're just locked in with Jordan Love moving forward. Maybe he gets better, but right now, to me, he seems a middle-of-the-road 10 to top 10 to top 15 quarterback, nothing spectacular. Josh Jacobs looked pretty good, 18 for 81, but you definitely need more out of him. And then the whole Packers receiving core went down. I think by the end of the fucking game, Dobbs was hurt, Reed was hurt. You already had Christian Watson hurt. So they were down to 3 guys who were literally on the team for special teams. So that becomes a rough day for them. But shout out to the Eagles. Now, Jalen Hurts, kind of a pedestrian day, 13 for 21, 131, 2 touchdowns and a loss. I would crush him. But they were controlling this game from the beginning. They didn't need much. Saquon Barkley, 25 for 119. Devontae Smith was their leading receiver with 55 yards. But again, Jalen Hurts spread it around to 6 different people, got the ball out. They did exactly what they needed to do. That tush push is unstoppable, brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. I think the tush push is funnier, so I always go with tush push. But yeah, Eagles came out, did what they needed to do. Moving on to the next round, the Packers are still a year or 2 away, I'm guessing, because they're young, but they have some talent. Again, I think the biggest question comes into, can Jordan Love get better? Is Jordan Love what we see now is what we get, or is there still a lot of room for improvement? And can you get Jordan Love to stop making bad mistakes, because that happens a lot at times. All right, let's talk about a game that was exciting to watch: the Commanders versus the Bucs. I picked the Commanders. I'm excited for this game against the Lions. Jaden Daniels, great game, 24 of 35, 268. 2 tutties. Jalen Daniels also had 13 carries for 36 yards. Baker Mayfield, not the greatest day, 15 for 18, so he was accurate, 185, 2 touchdowns, but they never really seemed to get into a flow. I never felt like the Bucs really got into a rhythm. Bucky Irving's amazing, but he was held to 77 yards. Mike Evans gets 92 yards. Mike Evans does what Mike Evans does. Cade Otton, 2 for 32. They didn't get it to him as much as I thought they would. The Commanders seemed to play the perfect game. Jaden Daniels, big leading rusher. Nobody had a big rushing game. They really shut down the rush in this game because Daniels is the leading rusher, 36 yards. Austin Eckler, 26 yards. Robinson, 16 yards on 10 attempts. So, I mean, they really did a good job. Scary Terry went off with the 7 receptions in the most important times. It was only for 89 yards and a tud, but he had some huge catches at must-have-it times. That's why Scary Terry is one of the better wide receivers in this league. It was a great game. Sad to see Tampa go out like that, but am excited to watch Jaden Daniels play the Lions. I do also wonder if maybe the Lions wanted Tampa to win to get some of that get back. Plus, it's probably easier to play Baker Mayfield than it would be to play Jaden Daniels because of the dual threat. All right. Going on to a game that fucking crushed me. The Vikings versus the Rams. Yes, the Vikings lost this game, but Sam Darnold lost this game. This is exactly why you don't pay Sam Darnold moving forward. This is exactly why you move on from Sam Darnold to JJ, because you have another option. I'm not saying Sam Darnold is complete cheeks, but the last 2 weeks proved he's not ready for the big game. He's maybe he gets there, but you have JJ McCarthy in the wings. You do not pay Sam Darnold. You move on from Sam Darnold. You take that 40, 50 million that Sam Darnold was going to have. You spread that around. The Vikings are going to have like almost 80 million in salary cap. You go put more players on that defense. You bolster that defensive line, and you go attack it next year with JJ McCarthy. Shout out to Matt Stafford. Like, Matt Stafford was 19 of 27 for 209 with 2 touchdowns. But some of those throws were big boy throws that needed to be on the money. And they were the opposite of what happened with Sam Darnold. Missed open guys, missed an open touchdown. Kyren Williams, 16 for 76 yards. Solid running day. I don't know what the Vikings do with Aaron Jones moving forward. It's just one of those things where Aaron Jones is great, but he's older. He gets injured. So if you could bring back Aaron at a good number with Cam Akers, and then you get rid of Ty Chandler and go get a third down back, I don't care if it's in the draft, free agency, undrafted free agent, bring in a third guy and run it back that way, I'm good with it because Cam Akers is good enough to carry the load. Cam Akers only had 5 carries, but they were big runs for him in that game. I think maybe Cam Akers is the starting running back for the Vikings next year, and then you grab somebody in the draft. I'd love to see Aaron Jones back for another year. Yeah, Sam Darnold just had such a rough day. I don't even want to. It's not even the receiver's fault that they had bad days like they did. If you're Justin Jefferson, you have to be so furious right now, and not like furious at like Sam Darnold, but just upset. Like you guys had this great season, you had a chance moving forward, and boom, you get slapped in the mouth by the Rams. It is what it is, though. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me what you thought about Wildcard Weekend. We are past Wildcard Weekend. We are going to go into some of the games coming up. All right. So we got the first game up, and I got Maddie's picks right here. Let me pull them up on my phone so I can get Maddie's picks locked in for the year. All right. Where is Maddie's picks? There they are. All right. So we're going Texans Chiefs. The point spread on that. This is all according to DraftKings, so if you want to get your bet on, use what you want, but we use DraftKings. You might get better odds at different apps. I don't know what you use and what's allowed in the state you're in because there is rules to that. So Maddie and I just go with DraftKings. I think I said DraftKings way too many times. All right, Texans, Chiefs. This is going to be a good matchup. I think the Chiefs are the better team. I think the Chiefs are on a mission. It would be an exciting game for a lot of people to watch the Texans upset the Chiefs. There is a 9.5 point spread on this game. This is all going to come down to, is there a way the Texans defense can stop? And I don't think you can. So slow down that Chiefs offense, but also on the other side, can you score enough on the Chiefs defense to keep it going? The Texans had a great game against the Chargers. I think this is a whole different monster. So we'll figure it out, or they'll have to figure it out from there, how they're going to do it, how they're going to attack this Chiefs defense. I think you got to try to get the running game going. You have to pump it to Mixon. If Mixon can get going, then CJ Stroud can get comfortable play action. But they don't they don't have a ton of weapons. They got Schultz, they got Nico Collins, but after that, where do you go? Who is going to step up for the Texans is the question. For me, this is simple. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I don't like that point spread, and the Chiefs aren't blowing people out. Maddie and I both have the Texans plus 9.5 in this game. All right, let's move on to the game tonight that I know everybody is excited for because I am so excited for this game. It is the Commanders versus the Lions. The Commanders are 8.5 point dogs in this game. I don't know. The Lions defense is decimated. They can score points in bunches, but I like the way the Commanders defense is playing better and better every game. You can tell that they're playing as a team because it's not the individual talent that's going to take them over. It's being in the right position, knowing the scheme, knowing your gap, being where you're supposed to be. That is absolutely what Dan Quinn is bringing to this team. I think there is a slight chance for an upset in this game. So with that said, it's easy for me. Give me the Commanders plus 8.5. Maddie also has the Commanders plus 8.5 because we both believe it'll be a closer game. And I don't know about Maddie, but I think there's a slim chance that the Commanders could steal this one because of how bad Detroit's defense is beat up. And maybe Dan Campbell makes a bad decision on 4th down, but we'll see. All right, let's move on to tomorrow, the Rams and the Eagles. The Rams are going to the Eagles. They are +6. They are dogs in this game. I think the Eagles are going to beat them. I think the Eagles will beat them kind of handily. I'm taking the Eagles minus the 6. Maddie's taking the Rams +6. I don't know if Maddie thinks the Rams will win. I wish we could ask him that. We'll have to ask him his thought process on that when we do the review of this week. But I do know that he definitely thinks it'll be close. I don't. I think the Eagles win by double digits. I think the Eagles show why they're the Eagles. That defense figures out how to slow down the receivers of the Rams. And I don't know how the Rams slow down all the weapons, including Saquon Barkley, on that Eagles team. So give me the Eagles. This is one of those games, guys. I'll say it. I'm going to take it. Give me the Eagles in the money line. The money line's minus 290. Give me the money line. I got to bet 100 to get 290. Or no, wait. I got that backwards. Sorry, guys. I would have had to. Maybe Maddie should take the money line. I fucked that up. Eagles minus 6. Let's just keep it moving. I ain't even going to try to explain my fuck up anymore because I'll just make it even worse. All right. So we're going Ravens, Bills. This is tough. Maddie and I both didn't know where to go on this game. I don't know. What's the weather in Buffalo, right? Like, that's the question. What is the weather tomorrow in Buffalo, New York? So I'm pulling up the weather app right now. Weather in Buffalo tomorrow is 20 degrees with 20% chance of snow. Baltimore's from cold weather team. I just thought if there was a lot of snow, that might be a problem. It's not. All right. So Maddie has, I think I pulled this down to look that up. Maddie reluctantly is taking the Ravens minus 1.5. It is kind of crazy that the Bills are dogs at home. I think King Henry runs around. I think they do enough. Part of me thinks the Bills because they're at home, but Lamar is just playing out of his mind. King Henry's playing out of his mind. I do not love that Zay Flowers is doubtful. Bills win this game. Give me the Bills plus 1.5. Don't know. Had to go with my gut. Bills win this game. That's my pick. I'm sticking with it. Maddie's got the Ravens. I got the Bills. Maddie's got the Rams. I got the Eagles. And we both have the Texans and Commanders to cover. All right, guys. I really hope you enjoy this divisional round of the playoffs. I'm really excited to see how this goes down. This is going to be an exciting day. I don't know how well the Texans-Chiefs game. Maybe it'll be exciting. But I am really excited for that Lions game tonight. You're going to have the biggest Commanders fan right here, even though I'm a NFC North guy because fuck the Lions. Yeah, that's why. The only reason, because fuck the Lions. So I hope you all enjoy it. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. If you could, just share it, please. It ain't going to hurt nothing. It takes you a second. It means the world to us. So please just like and subscribe and share the episode. I hope that we help you win some money this week. I hope that I'm getting ahead of myself trying to get out of here too quick. I forgot. We got to do our lock bets of the week before we get out of here. Maddie has the Rams as his lock bet of the week at +6. And I am taking the Commanders to cover as my lock bet of the week. So that is to cover the +8.5. All right, now we can get out of here. I appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for watching. Please go over, like I said, like and subscribe. Check out MMA Underground. They're doing a great job. They're killing it. They just had a couple great guests on there. They had Ace of Spades from BKFC, but this dude has had a lifetime of combat training experience. He had 2 of his young students on, which was really nice to see. And always, we get great guests from the scrap yard, from the West Coast, from all Street Beefs branches. We've had UFC, Bellator. It's a great time. The comments, the live chat is a lot of fun. If you're watching, feel free to get in there. Don't be shy. Go check out College Football Junkies. They just reviewed the playoffs and previewing the national championship this morning. It's a great time for sports, guys, so make sure you keep tuning in. And make sure you check out the playlist every Friday at overtimehustling.com. Payne Gusto and I are always bringing you some of the greatest freestyles and ciphers we can find. So tap into that. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you all. One world, one love. Deuces.